And we're in. Alright guys, it's Forsaken Angels 1987 here, and I've got some hellacious ideas on the new WWE 2K14 video game that's coming out on October 9th in the USA, and international waters it's on the 1st of November. Now, we already know the roster that's going to be coming out. We already know mostly quite a lot about it. I'm sure that 2K is still hiding a hell of a lot from us to surprise us when the game actually comes out itself. But I have some pretty good ideas for DLC. Now, you'll notice a lot of these packs that I have involved, quite a lot of it has never been WWE before, or even WWF. So, bear with me. This is probably going to take a little while. So, come along for the ride, and if you have any ideas afterwards, drop me a line, drop me a message, hell, drop me an inbox, whatever. And tell me your thoughts and ideas as well. I mean, if you've got any great ideas, I will mention them, and I'll see what can be done about it. So, this is my WWE 2K14 DLC ideas. We're starting off with match ideas. Now, the match types, there is 5 in a pack for 2K14. I've never noticed there be a pack thing before for matches in any wrestling game, so especially WWE or WWF. The first match is the ambulance match. I've seen a few of these, and they're not that pleasant, but they're not meant to be. That's the whole point. Someone's meant to get hurt, and I've like I said, I've seen a few of these. I've seen Cena versus Carly. I've saw Shane versus Kane, and they have quite intense endings. So maybe there should be like a finisher thing similar to the casket match, or the Buried Alive. But that was the first match that I think would be quite good for a DLC match in 2K14. The next match is the 3 Stages of Hell. Everybody's been wanting this back. Especially me. Now, the only problem with the 3 stages is it got bland after a while. People thought it was a little bit too, it's a case of you pin, but then your health bar goes back up again. I reckon that's quite stupid. If you're in a match, you should still have a groggy bar. You should still be damaged, because otherwise it don't make any sense. That's why it's called 3 Stages of Hell. You're meant to be fatigued. And also, I reckon they should chuck in with this particular match itself. If you want to buy it on its own, you should have 3 separate kind of matches extra to go in that 3 stages, as well as the match types you have in the game itself. Match 3 is the casket match. Now, I've seen a few of these, but my favourite is still the very first one, Kamala versus The Undertaker at Survivor Series 1992. It's obviously very simple as before, but this time, fuck the ground fucking thing. We should have an actual casket and place our opponent in the casket. If you Taker, for example, do a tombstone off the side like the Royal Rumble, or if you're Shawn Michaels, maybe a Sweet Chin Music off the ropes. But make sure that when you land near the casket, if you're landing on it, you're landing in it, because then it makes it more realistic. The next match is the Boiler Room Brawl. Now, it took me a while to think of this match, because I wanted to think of 5 of the best matches I could think of that would be great for the DLC. There's no point in having DLC if people aren't going to buy it because they don't reckon it's revealing enough and it's more enjoyable than the game itself. That's the whole point of DLC. Boiler Room Brawl, Taker versus Mankind. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It was a classic brawl. No wrestling involved. It was a fucking fight. And it was brilliant. To say that it's obviously scripted, it was fucking brilliant to watch back in the day, because they really knew how to pull on your strings, and they knew how to get under your skin. The way this match should end, like it originally did. Paul Bearer's in the ring with the urn. You can go all around the fucking arena, if that was available. And the only way you can win is you start off in the boiler room, fight your way out, get to the ring, and whoever grabs the urn of Paul Bearer wins the match. Simple as that. Just as simple as that. Very similar to the casket match idea. Very similar to the ambulance match idea. The last match a lot of people have wanted this. A shitload of people have wanted this, including myself. The Elimination Survivor Series 4-on-4. Now, I was going to add 5-on-5 instead, but I don't reckon they'd be able to do 10 men in the ring at the same time. So 4-on-4 is pushing it, but I reckon if they tried, they could pull this one off. So, Elimination Survivor Series. Obviously, this game's all about the road to WrestleMania, 30 years of WrestleMania. So, there's no really talk about Survivor Series as much. So, in this one, in all personal preference, this would be great for Universe mode. You could have a Survivor Series, and you could have as many fucking Survivor Series matches as you want. 4-on-4 would be brilliant. It would be absolutely fantastic. It's a shame they can't do 5-on-5, but 4-on-4 would, in my opinion, would be brilliant to have. Okay, that's the 5 matches of my DLC ideas for 2K14. The next up is my Weapons Finishers DLC. Now, we've all seen finishers with weapons, but they look quite bland after so many years of use. I mean, I can remember Shut Your Mouth when they brought out the DDT finisher, and I was like, what the fuck? That's awesome! Thing is, after so many years of using that same shit, it gets boring. It gets really fucking boring. So instead, I thought of some new ideas. The stop sign, for example, there's 2 finishes for this. One, swing off the ropes like Shane O'Mac, bang, crack. 1, 2, 3. Or you can DDT them on the stop sign, similar to the chair. The barbed wire back from Cactus Jack, that's simple. Finisher, the first one, you run and you whack them with the bat. Or the second one, they're on the floor and you run across the floor like the atomic leg drop position or the switching music position from the turnbuckle. You run across, you drop the elbow with the bat, and then it's automatic blood. That should be a rule for that particular weapon finisher. If you choose it, if you use it, you will fucking bleed like a stuck pig. Next one, I used a bit of creativity in my mind, and I thought of Sting. Now, Sting's never going to make WWE unless he comes in the near future. But the black baseball bat that he used to use quite frequent in that time period of WCW and TNA, the black bat finish would be really, really simple. Basically, they're groggy, they're standing, they're groggy. It's a back finisher. You spin them round, crack over the fucking noggin, KO, 1, 2, 3. The last weapon, I have never seen this in any wrestling game, any WWE game, any fucking wrestling game. The concrete slab. Again, very simple to use. Finisher button. You can use it anywhere, either standing, from behind, from the front. Hell, from the fucking turnbuckle. There should be a finisher where you can out from the turnbuckle where you jump off and you crack them over at nut. But the simplest one is they're on the floor, they're about to get up, that's your finisher, they're about to get up, and you just run and you smash it over their head. And that would be an automatic KO, 1, 2, 3. That's my 5 weapons finishers. Please tell me your comments on that one, thank you. Last but not least is my Wrestlers DLC content. Now, there is 5 packs of 5. And these 5 packs, I have chose these, so there's going to be some surprises in here. And there's going to be some people that are going to remember that some of these guys have been in previous games, but not the same way as you remember them. So these are my ideas. NXT Pack 1. Adrian Neville, the Wyatt family, including all 3 of them, Corey Graves, Leo Kruger, and you've got to have him, yes, you know what I'm on about, Mr. Ono himself, Cassius Ono. These guys are definitely the future of the company, and I think it's time that they got a little bit of exposure in a game so people could actually realise how they work and what they are going to be expecting. It's kind of like, the best way I can describe it is putting NXT wrestlers in a WWE game, even if it's DLC. It's like having a demo of what you're going to be having maybe in the next year or so when they've came into the WWE, and then you're going to be used to their kind of character, and you're going to be used to their kind of finishers, and you're going to be you're basically getting like a sneak peek of what you're going to be having in the following roster of the following year. And some of these guys are really great. Adrian Neville, Corey Graves, fucking awesome. Leo Kruger reminds me of a modern day Bradshaw Vader. Cassius Ohno, Chris Hero, you obviously know Chris Hero is. You know Chris Hero is fucking awesome. Wyatt family, everyone knows who they are now. They are definitely the best stable in the business at the moment. Just behind them is the Shield. The only reason why I say that is because the Shield now working with Triple H and Steph, I reckon it's killing their heat. They reminded me of the I can't remember the name now. Oh bloody hell! Nah, it's gone. But Michael Hayes was in the stable. Fabulous Freebirds. There we go. The Fabulous Freebirds, the original Freebirds. That's who the Shield reminded me of, and now that they've gone corporate, I just don't reckon it suits them. But I still reckon Dean Ambrose will be world champion someday. I was going to include the Ascension, but I don't reckon that they got there in time. So I don't reckon they would make a DLC, even if it was a possibility. I don't reckon they'll make the DLC just because of the time limit that they finally came back in. My pack 2. Is the WCW deal. Now, there is some names in here that you're going to know. There is some names in here you might not know. And there's some names in here that you're going to be like, what the fuck? So, Scott Steiner is one. DDP. With his WCW attire. With the Smells Like Teen Spirit theme song with Self High Five. Not the shit that they gave him in WWE, because that was a pathetic gimmick. Psychosis, the Mexican Lucha Libre Psychosis from WCW. Not the geezer that came into WWE and they ruined his career. Jeff Jarrett. Everybody will know who Jeff is. I don't know whether he'll make the cut because he's in TNA, but it would be interesting to see him, because he's not been in a WWE game since Attitude, I think it was. WWF Attitude, so that's a long fucking time ago. I mean, I was about 10, so it's a long time back. And last but not least, Vampiro. And if people know who Vampiro is, they know that that's a pretty good choice. I haven't gone for the big names like Hall and Nash and Hogan and Sting. Sting wouldn't make it anyway, because there's no way TNA would make a deal with him to come to WWE. Hogan is already on the game anyway, in his NWO days, WCW days, so that's that sorted. Diesel's there, no doubt they'll give him a Kevin Nash attire. Same goes for Razor Ramon. Scott Hall will probably be in the game in some kind of form. So, and if not, people will be able to create them anyway. So, but I've gone for guys who have never been seen, more or less, in a game, apart from a few people. Obviously, Steiner has, and Psychosis and Jarrett, but that you're talking fucking like 10 years ago, even longer. And Steiner, what? Here Comes the Pain, SmackDown vs. Raw, maybe. So I've gone for some of the guys that weren't the big names of the company, but people liked them. So I thought that would be quite interesting for my pack deal. Pack 3, WWF Legends. Now, Bruno Sammartino has been mentioned to be put in WWE 2K14. We now know he's not going to be in the finished roster, so that only means he's going to be DLC. So he is the first person on my list. That could be a dead cert. Bruno Sammartino. Roddy Piper, British Bulldog and the Dynamite Kid. The British Bulldogs were one of the best tag teams in the fucking business, and I cannot believe that they still have never linked them together in a WWE game. It's insulting to be English and not have them kind of people in a game, which the Bulldogs were one of the best tag teams in the business. And last but not least, Harley Race. Now, I was going to put Harley in an NWA pack, but I thought there's no point, because he was still a legend in the WWF. At that point, he was more or less ending his career as an in-ring performer. So I thought put him in. Maybe give him his King Harley Race or Handsome Harley Race gimmick with the motorbike mustache and whatever else, the handlebars. So Harley Race had to be in there because I just want to see Harley Race versus Ric Flair. I want to create Starrcade and have Race versus Flair. It'd be fucking awesome to see on a game Harley Race being introduced and Ric Flair being introduced, and you could just have one-on-one go, and it just sounds awesome to me. Pack 4, WWE pre-Attitude Era. Now I'm gonna tell you this right now. There's no Al Snow, there's no Gangrel, there's no Steve Blackman. I'm talking the pre-era, say about 96, 97 era, maybe even middle 98. But these are the guys that, in my opinion, or at least one of them definitely, was one ahead of his time. And he was one of the best wrestlers in the company at that time. And the first person I'm going to start off with, in fact, is Brian Pillman. Pillman, if you know about Pillman, he was a loose cannon, hence his nickname, the Loose Cannon Brian Pillman. Unfortunately, he died at a very young age, tragically in 1997. In fact, he died the day that Kane debuted Hell in a Cell. So, but Pillman was ECW before ECW was ECW. His mind was so twisted in his character, and if you know something about Pillman always went away. He was an old school fucking wrestler. He was the kind of guy that went away, stayed in character, and confused every fucker, and then acted nice, and then pissed on the pool again. If you've heard of Brian Pillman, check him out on YouTube. Brian Pillman versus the Pencil. That is fucking hysterical. You've heard the expression that Shawn Michaels could have a great match with a couch. Pillman has a great promo with a pencil. It's fucking hilarious. It's like a fucking 10-foot pencil, and he's having a fight with it. It's really funny. Anyway, moving on. In the pack, Farouk. I'd say about Nation Domination time. Just because I love the whole thing that was going on, and Farouk coming out with that kind of gimmick, it was quite good. Unfortunately, they killed him when they gave him the fucking Farouk Abdul gimmick and all that shit with a gladiator helmet, and that fucked him up. But luckily, he saved it with the Nation Domination and the APA. So I have kind of looked into that, and luckily it did save his career. Next is Terry Funk. Now, the only reason I chose Funk is because of Foley, and he was pre-Attitude Era, but him and Foley were Attitude before Attitude was even thought of, and it would be nice to see Funk, not Chainsaw Charlie, or maybe it could be an alternate attire, but Terry Funk versus Mick Foley would be really interesting to see. Again. Next person, before last, is Ahmed Johnson. He wasn't really a great ringing performer, to be honest, but people fucking loved him. He was, at that time, he was more over than The Rock, because The Rock was coming up through the ranks. Ahmed Johnson was The Rock at the time. His promos were shite, because you couldn't understand the fucking word he said, but he had that look that he meant business. He could go out and he could get a crowd pumped with just his music, and just same as the like of the later on The Rock and Austin, and Ahmed Johnson was well over big time. In fact, he was one of the most over guys at that time. So I reckon Ahmed Johnson should make the cut in a pre-Attitude Era pack. Last but not least, Psycho Sid. I have been dying to see Sid Vicious in a WWE game ever since they made WWE games. I think he's made it in one, but I know he's made it in about 3 WCW games before it died. Psycho Sid would be fucking brilliant to have. I thought when they were doing 30 years of WrestleMania, they were going to put Sid in there, because Sid had a match with Hogan, which I thought might have gave it a click for the Hulkster thing going on, and I thought with him showing up on TV, it might have gave some kind of contract deal, as well as obviously had a match with Taker for the title at WrestleMania 13. I thought Sid were going to make it, and I was pissed when he didn't. I mean, I'd have took out an extra Ric Flair just to put Psycho Sid in. Mind you, I took John Cena out to put Psycho Sid in, but obviously they can't do that because it's got to be modern versus legend. So, yeah, go figure. Right, last but not least, my ECW pack. Now, you're not going to get the guys like RVD or Sabu or Sandman or people along that lines. You're going to get people that really haven't been in the WWE games either ever or not for a very long time. First up, just incredible. And if they were able to make you be able to create the 360 tombstone and the spin out 360 DDT, it would be fucking awesome. I doubt they'll do that because even though he's an ECW guy, I don't reckon they'd do it. They'd probably make him just incredible from fucking ECW 2006 when they made him a jobber. Lance Storm, who was just incredible's tag team partner when ECW was more or less dead in 2000 and 2001, maybe even before that actually, the Impact Players. Just incredible. Lance Storm was one of the most innovative tag teams in ECW, and that's why I had to have Lance along with Justin. Tommy Dreamer. I've seen Dreamer in about 3 wrestling games, apart from ECW itself. Tommy Dreamer, in fact it's 4. Tommy Dreamer would be brilliant to have in an ECW pack. He was the heart and soul, he still is the heart and soul of ECW. So Dreamer should definitely be in this pack. Taz, possibly the best ECW champion they ever had, and that's the reason why I've placed him in this pack, because if you're going to have ECW, you've got to have TA to the Z, you've got to have Taz. And finally, Mike Awesome. Now you've noticed that I've chosen 4 world champions as well as a tag team champions as well, because I wanted to mix it up and mix and match. You don't just want to have a pack that's going to have 4 world champions and that's it. You want to have a pack where you could have 2 people as your tag champions and 1 person as your world champion. And I've done the same in nearly every other pack apart from probably the pre-Attitude Era. So it gives you more variety in the tag team division as well, as I do know there is ECW tag team belts on the game. If you haven't seen it, check out the Creation Suite on 2K14. It's fucking awesome. When I saw them tag belts and the ECW TV title on there, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. I was going to choose the likes of Rhino and Spike Dudley, but I thought Rhino came in quite late, and I don't reckon that they would have used him anyway. And Spike Dudley, I think he's with TNA at the minute as Brother Runt, so I didn't mention him either. But those are my ideas for 2K14 DLC. As I said at the start of the video, please comment. Please tell me your ideas. If you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them. If there's anything that I think that's worth mentioning about, I will mention them, and I will do a video for you, and hopefully, even if it don't make this cut, maybe people will see things for next year. 2K keeps saying they'll listen to the fans. What better place to look for content about people's ideas for upcoming games than YouTube? Right, thank you very much guys, and have a good day. Peace out.